to talk about another issue that's, is covered by all the newspapers, also in the final, different angles to the story about a military base or not in Ghana. But there is a policy, there's an agreement that's found its way to Parliament from the Defense Ministry. So there's going to be a Ghana-U.S. collaboration, a certain collaboration. We're giving you details of the terms of that agreement on your screens right now. But we'll also go over to Parliament as our colleague Joseph Opoku Gakpo had conversations with some members of Parliament and the Defense Minister. But let's start off with his report. First of all, here we go.
The deal will permit the U.S. military to use Ghana for the deployment of forces across the sub-region. Speaker Professor Mike Okoye has referred the agreement to the Defense and Interior Committee as well as the Constitution and Legal Affairs Committee of Parliament, despite protests by the majority and minority.
Federal Committee on Defense and Interior. Yes, Honourable.
Because and Foreign Affairs. Because it appears it's got some dimension beyond defense.
The mere fact that it is.
If respectfully you can add the leadership of the Foreign Affairs Committee to that committee, I think that Foreign Affairs obviously has a role to play in that. So I'm making that humble appeal.
Please, can you see me? That temptation. The essence of this matter is a legal document. Those in charge of legal matters should join Defense and Interior.
Minority MP on the Foreign Affairs Committee, Dr. Clement Apak, is worried the agreement could expose Ghana to terrorism.
If you look at that document and you scrutinize it word by word, page by page, section by section, it is clear that we must tread cautiously. This bargain is going to shortchange Ghanaians. And I believe that if Ghanaians thought that bringing in the Gitmo 2 was going to be a magnet to attract terrorists, then beginning tonight, they should start wailing and crying. Because these are the facts on the ground. And the evidence is abound across the world for us to draw this conclusion.
That this will attract terrorist activity?
It is obvious that it is going to. I mean, look at even the African continent. We saw what happened in Kenya. We saw what happened in Burkina Faso. Do you know the common factor denominator? And look at every other part of the world where the Americans have had a base. If there has not been a surge in extremist activity. And these are the issues we are raising. And I'm so sad that the Speaker chose not to let this come or allow the Foreign Affairs Committee to be a part of it. When indeed, if you look at the memo, the Minister for Foreign Affairs is one of the consultative ministers in as far as these background negotiations were concerned. So if it was prudent to have included the Minister for Foreign Affairs in the background discussions with the Americans, why is it not prudent to have allowed the Committee on Foreign Affairs to be a part of scrutinizing this before it gets on the floor?
This is mind-blowing. I can't just believe that in Ghana today, Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana, any government can even think about this. But I will not want to be in a hurry to tell what will happen. But we are not going to a crash meeting. We think that this is mind-blowing. I heard the Minister of Defense on Joy FM this morning. I just want to beg him. He should go and look at the definition of military base. Whether that doesn't qualify as military base. He should just go and look at the definition of military base. To the extent that they can build structures, demolish structures, and do other things. He should just go and look at the definition of a military base. But surely you are going to hear from us comprehensively on this.
But Defense Minister Dominic Nitiwul disagrees.
Americans today are currently engaging in fighting terrorists in the Sahel region. It is our duty as West Africa to do that, not Americans. But they are there. The loss of 4 soldiers the last time, if you remember, it's our duty as West Africa or as Africa to fight terrorists. But the American soldiers are busily there fighting. So they are saying that even if it means using the facilities in Ghana to store equipment to be able to go and fight those terrorists, they will do it. It's because of people like Apak and all those who seek to heighten tension when there's none that will draw anybody's attention to Ghana. In any case, I have said something. America has an embassy in Ghana, don't they? is the biggest embassy in West Africa, American embassy in Ghana. They have all the facilities that they have. Why has it not attracted terrorists? America has this agreement with 51 countries, including Senegal. Has it attracted terrorists anywhere? Don't let us invite trouble for ourselves by congesting things that are not there. Are you getting me right? Let me give you an example. God forbid if there's a terrorist attack today at Kotoka International Airport and we have a few American Marines around, you think they're going to sit there and fold their hands? You think that if America has some facility at the Kotoka International Airport, you think they will not also help to fortify security around Kotoka International Airport? There are benefits to both nations.
Joseph Opoku-Gakpo, JoyNews, Parliament House, Accra.
I know the rules when you have ruled.
So Joseph Opoku-Gakpo bringing us details of events as they unfolded in Parliament yesterday on this whole U.S. deal with the Ghana governments. And it's interesting, Elvis, I don't know what you think of, what you make of what's happening now. People say this is hypocritical, particularly coming from the minority, because we got ourselves into a deal by receiving the Gitmo 2, and this agreement really is not new.
Because if you look at the documents some of us have seen, it's even clearly stated that we had signed that agreement in 2015. This particular agreement, we are only trying to renew it. So it means that when it was signed in 2015, Ghanaians were not aware, we were not told, and we didn't see it. So to us, this one is new to us. That is why we are questioning. But the fact is that in that same document that we are talking about, the fact that these issues have been hidden from us, it is clearly stated that we had already signed a similar agreement in 2015, and the government is trying to renew it because it is expiring. So in the first place, the minority should tell us why they signed it in the 2015 and we didn't know, and today they are the same people who are raising issue with a renewal of something that they have signed. I think that we should lift politics about some of these issues. We should be looking at it. Is it really a military base or not? That's the argument now. That some say it constitutes a military base. Some say it doesn't constitute a military base. I think that that's what we should be focusing on. Attention to say that even if it is, the question is, do we really compromise our security by allowing Americans into Ghana? People talk about terror. It's true that when you allow American base in a country, it's assumed that it's part of the reasons terrorists want to attack you. But on the other hand, even if you have a military base, terrorists want to come and attack. They are afraid because they think that there is a lot of skill and ammunition available to take them on. Is it terrorists? If they will come and attack Ghana or any other country in West Africa, they are not coming because they want to kill Ghanaians. They want to kill people from countries that they see as their enemies. So if you are in Ghana, we have UK embassy here. We have American embassy here. We have investments from countries that these terrorists are seen to be fighting. They are all operating in Ghana here. So when they want to come and attack, they are not coming to attack maybe our flag tower. They are going to attack an establishment that is coming from that country.
But they will still be on our land.
That is the point.
This is a sovereign nation.
But you already have American companies are here big time. They have huge investments here. So if terrorists want to come to Ghana and come and attack them because they cannot go to America,
they have great incentives.
They have great incentives to come and destroy American company or UK company or countries that they see as their enemies. They have them here. But they have their embassies here. But so the interest that will attract a terrorist to Ghana, already they exist. So we shouldn't have the idea that unless there is an American base in Ghana, before terrorists will come, will want to make us a target. We are already, if we look at the way they operate and the mentality and the way they operate, when they struck beaches in Ivory Coast and the rest, who did they kill? They killed the white people. Because they think that these people from this country, since we cannot get to their country because their security is so tight, if we can get their citizens in other countries, let's hit them. Let's hit their investments in other countries. They will feel it. So you see, we shouldn't only focus the debate on the fact that it is only when we have a base or American interest in Ghana. American interest has been in Ghana already and in big time. We just signed an oil company contract with ExxonMobil. ExxonMobil is a big American company.
If the ECG deal goes through, that's also.
You understand it? So we should look at the debate. That's what I want the minority to look at, a holistic approach. Why will terrorists go to Ivory Coast? What is Ivory Coast fighting the war? We go to Mali with our troops to go and fight the people there. If by virtue of the fact that Ghanaian troops are part of the troops fighting what they are trying to achieve in Mali, are we not already a target that you are you are trying to stop us from what we want to achieve in Mali. If they want to come, they will come and attack us.
So what's your view
for me,
about the sighting of any American facility?
You see, at one point, I always say that whatever we do, let's tread cautiously. There are countries with U.S. bases in this world. There are countries also without American base, and they are safer than the countries with American base. Okay? So let's do a very thorough analysis of our situation. Let's find out, in terms of us as a country. Last 2 years, we had news of Al-Qaeda recruiting people from Ghana, ISIS recruiting people from Ghana into their fold. The selling of human beings in Egypt just that broke. We've been told that there are Ghanaians in Libya who are part of ISIS. So we shouldn't see the thing as if it is remote and far away from us. But if we do a proper analysis of our security situation, and we think that letting the Americans come in to come and help us with a base will help, let's do and agree as a nation that this is what we need. But before even a base will come in, American soldiers come to this country every year to come and help our military in training. They come here with all kinds of equipment and all that they want to do and come here to train our military. And if you look at the agreement, it's the same thing that they are talking about. But if the people some are saying that it constitutes a military base, for me, that is where we should look at. Is it really a military base? If it is, what will be the benefit to Ghana? Not only financially, but in terms of security. It's not about money, but rather the security. So we shouldn't always look at the fact that if American base is announced in Ghana, this is what will happen. That is why Gitmotu, we made the same argument that because we accept Gitmotu, we become whatever and whatever. But the question is, what really is our national security status as a country? If we have been told that ISIS and co are recruiting Ghanaians, and we remember the case of the guy who we were told was recruited even from KNUST, from a university. And we sat in this country, our national security did not even tell us that this is happening until the issue broke from elsewhere. So we should really have our national security give us a comprehensive analysis of Ghana's security situation and what threats that Ghana faces. And if there is a need for us to have a collaboration with UK or whatever country or America that will put our security in the kind of place that can fight these things, for me, that is what we should. But the way we are shouting, it is American-based, that government should not allow. The minority who is shouting, it is really in the. I was thinking that they will deny that the one they said we signed in 2015 is not true. But I'm not hearing the minority denying the fact that the 2015 one is not true.
That also begs the question, where is the RTI bill? Because then we could independently be verifying some of these claims.
Thank you, sister. And that is what even will tell us that this information about this, whether collaboration or base, constitute a national security matter that should not be made public or not. If that ruling has been made by whichever commission that will decide on such issues, even the MPs will not have any right to put it out there because it has been determined that even with freedom of information, RTI bill, it has been determined this issue is a national security issue, so the public should not be made as, so keep it here. Like, we will not have all this debate. You see, so when we talk about the RTI bill, people always think that it's always going to only fight the politicians and their businesses and corruption, but it's even given us a critical role in national security. So even with the media, you may have the documents in your hand, but once it is determined that this is a national security matter, you can't discuss it. But today, we are discussing an issue, and we don't know whether it constitutes a national security matter or not. So it's in the public domain, and we are all discussing. But with the RTI bill, probably this issue may not even be in the public domain for discussion at all, because once the ruling is made that this particular information about this collaboration with America constitutes a national security, it will go through Parliament, all right, but it may not be debated on the floor. It will just go at the committee level. Once the understanding is made, it's gone. How many of us have seen the real budget, details of the budget for our national security? National security is giving budget, but because it's a national security budget and they have certain things they can't disclose, the real details of how their money is spent, it's not disclosed.
Even if you saw the document, you won't publish it. You won't talk about it because you understand the implications.
That you cannot put this in the public domain. And if you do, the law will take you on.
The action campaign, the campaign for the bill to be passed, we've got 2 days more to go because they gave a 10-day ultimatum. So we've got 2 days.
I think it's more like the bill to be laid before.
To be laid,
at least. Not to be,
At least it is laid.
At least let us see it in Parliament.
On Friday.
Let us see it in
What
Parliament.
will happen is that they will know at least the bill is in Parliament. And then when they resume, they will know that it will be one of the first bills they will consider and pass. This is a bill that
so
is almost 20 years
this is just a reminder.
the
Reminder the clock is ticking. It's on 8. We have to get a 10. So in 2 days it will be over, and we'll see what the pressure. I mean, is this pressure being felt by government? Because it has to move from the executive to the legislature.
But the pressure is being felt because you remember just yesterday, Dr. Baumia has. No, 3 days ago. He responded and said, look, cabinet has approved it.
But we don't want the talk.
It will go to cabinet.
We want to see it.
It will go to parliament before they rise.
We want to see
no, the vice president has promised that it will go to cabinet, it will go to parliament before they rise on Friday. Yeah. So that's why we are monitoring. That's why I like the clock. It tells me that it's 2 days more. So by Friday, before parliament rises on Friday, we all will know whether this government has sent the bill to parliament or not. But see, sending it to parliament for me, I see it happening. But I'm looking at what is going to happen in parliament in terms of the debate as to whether this bill should be allowed to go through. Because I listened to the majority leader just 2 days ago or at a program where he explained the 2 key things that is delaying the bill at the moment. One, he said, what should constitute national security and what does not constitute. The determination of that is one critical issue that is hanging.
It's interesting. We have to wrap up on this, but this didn't come from him when, you know, the tables turned then. It's interesting. One of the other conversations we'll be having is a conversation around a youth conference, which is on the theme Understanding Life. So ICGC Praise Sanctuary Young Adult Ministry, bringing that conversation. We'll get a lot more. But Elvis Darko, what can I say? As
Elvis,
always,
thank you
we're grateful for your time this morning.
Yeah.
We will wait to see the angle that the business finder takes on this whole Unibank issue tomorrow, God willing.